Millionaire, shocked to see his ex as his fiancée's doctor, then spots a girl who looks just like him. Hi, my beautiful family. Welcome back to Mr. Peter Stories, your own family channel. Heavenly God, we thank you for the gift of life, love and togetherness. As Christmas draws near, cover every home here with your peace. Strengthen every woman with courage, dignity and healing. Honor her sacrifices, crown her patience and surround her with respect. Bless every family with good health, unity and hope. Let broken hearts find comfort, tired souls find rest, and silent prayers receive answers. May your light enter every house and turn worries into joy, fear into faith, and tears into smiles. Amen. My family, stay with me till the end. These stories are written with love, prayer, and respect for you. If your heart is true, like the video. If your love is real, write, I am with Mr. Peter. The champagne tasted like broken promises in Randy Eicher's mouth. He stood on the terrace of the Fontainebleau Hotel in Miami, watching 200 guests celebrate his engagement to Jenna Gregg, and felt the familiar hollowness that had lived in his chest for 10 years. The sunset painted the Atlantic in shades of amber and rose, the kind of perfect moment photographers lived for. Jenna's family had spared no expense. Her father owned half the commercial real estate in South Florida, and this party was his way of marking territory, claiming Randy as one of their own. "To my beautiful daughter," Jenna's father boomed from the center of the crowd, raising his crystal flute high enough to catch the dying light. "And to Randy, who finally made an honest woman of her." Laughter rippled through the guests. "May your love be as enduring as the buildings I construct, and twice as profitable." More laughter. Randy forced himself to smile, to raise his own glass in acknowledgement. Jenna squeezed his hand, her 3-carat engagement ring. He had let her choose it, unable to muster an opinion, catching fire in the sunset. She looked radiant in her white cocktail dress, blonde hair swept into an elaborate updo that had taken her stylist 3 hours to perfect. Everything about her was polished, curated, exactly what his life had become. His mother Diane stood nearby, beaming with an approval that made Randy's skin crawl. She had moved to Miami 5 years ago, ostensibly for the weather and the social scene, but Randy knew the truth. She had been positioning him, orchestrating introductions to families like the Greggs, families with old money and older bloodlines. When he had started dating Jenna 18 months ago, Diane had practically glowed with vindication. This should feel right, Randy thought, watching Jenna accept congratulations from her sorority sisters. This should feel like the culmination of everything I have worked for. Instead, it felt like a funeral for a life he had lost a decade ago. Jenna stepped forward to give her own toast, and the crowd quieted with practiced precision. She had that effect on people, command without effort, grace without trying. "I never believed in fairy tales," she began, her voice carrying over the sound of waves breaking against the shore below. "I thought love was something you built like a business plan, with clear objectives and measurable outcomes." Polite laughter. "But then I met Randy, and I realized that the best partnerships are both practical and passionate. We complement each other perfectly. He brings the vision, I bring the execution. Together, we will build something that—" She stopped mid-sentence. Her champagne glass slipped from her fingers, shattering on the Italian marble terrace in an explosion of crystal and foam. Her face went chalk white, then grey. Her knees buckled. "Jenna?" Randy caught her before she hit the ground, his training from a long-ago CPR certification kicking in automatically. "I can't—" Her voice came out thin and reedy, like paper tearing. "I can't breathe." The crowd erupted. Women screamed. Men shouted conflicting advice. Jenna's mother pushed through the crowd, her face a mask of maternal panic. Randy lowered Jenna to the ground, checking her pulse, fast and thready, tilting her head back to keep her airway clear. She was conscious but disoriented, her pupils dilated, skin clammy to the touch. Someone call 911, Jenna's father roared, his phone already in his hand. No, Randy said, his voice cutting through the chaos with unexpected authority. He scooped Jenna into his arms, her head lolling against his shoulder. Miami General is 3 blocks from here. It will be faster to drive her myself. He was already moving toward the valet stand, muscle memory guiding him through the crowd of stunned guests. He had chosen the Fontainebleau specifically for its proximity to Miami General, the best hospital in the city, rated #1 in emergency care. Insurance. He had told himself when booking the venue, just in case someone had too much to drink or a seafood allergy they forgot to mention. The universe had a cruel sense of humor. Diane appeared at his elbow as the valet brought his car around, a black Audi sedan, conservative and expensive. I'm coming with you, she announced, climbing into the passenger seat before he could object. Randy did not have the energy to argue. He laid Jenna across the back seat, her breathing shallow but steady, and pulled into Miami traffic with the kind of reckless precision that came from genuine fear. What happened? Diane demanded, gripping the dashboard as Randy ran a red light. She was fine 30 seconds ago. I do not know. Randy's hands were white-knuckled on the steering wheel. Dehydration, maybe. Stress. She has been working 70-hour weeks on that merger. Or food poisoning. I told them the oysters looked questionable. Randy ignored her, focusing on the road, on getting Jenna to help. 3 minutes and 40 seconds later, he counted everyone. He screeched to a halt outside the emergency room entrance. He burst through the automatic doors with Jenna in his arms, the fluorescent lights harsh after the golden sunset. The ER was moderately busy. A few people in the waiting area, nurses moving with practiced efficiency behind the triage desk. I need a doctor, Randy's voice echoed off the sterile walls. Right now. Bring her here. The voice came from his left, calm and authoritative and achingly familiar. Randy turned toward the sound. Time stopped. Dr. Gloria Tilson stood beside a gurney in navy blue scrubs, a stethoscope around her neck, her dark curls pulled back in a low ponytail. She was older, fine lines around her eyes that had not been there before, a weariness in her posture that spoke of too many double shifts, but she was still the most beautiful woman Randy had ever seen, still the woman whose absence had carved a hole in his chest that nothing and no one had been able to fill. Their eyes met. For one infinite second, he saw shock flash across her face, genuine, unguarded surprise that mirrored his own. Then pain, raw and devastating, the kind of pain that comes from old wounds ripped open. Then her expression went blank, professional, cold as winter steel, in a way that was somehow worse than hatred. Set her on the gurney, Gloria said, her voice devoid of all emotion, each word carefully controlled. What are her symptoms? Randy could not speak, could not move, could not process that she was here, real, alive, standing 3 feet away after vanishing from his life like smoke for 10 years. His brain screamed at him to say something, anything, but his throat had closed completely. Sir? Gloria's tone sharpened to a blade's edge. I need information now. What happened to her? She collapsed, Randy managed, his voice hoarse and foreign, during a toast. Said she could not breathe. Pulse is fast, skin is clammy. Gloria's hands moved with mechanical efficiency, checking Jenna's pulse at the wrist and throat, lifting her eyelids to examine pupil dilation, pressing 2 fingers against her carotid artery. Possible vasovagal syncope, could be dehydration, cardiac event, or adverse reaction to something. Get vitals, check blood glucose, run a 12-lead EKG, and move her to Bay 3. She barked orders at 2 nurses who materialized instantly. They began wheeling the gurney away, Jenna's hand falling limply over the side. Gloria. Randy's voice cracked on her name. She finally looked at him again, and the ice in her eyes could have frozen oceans. It is Dr. Tilson. Wait in the lobby, please. But I need to... Waiting room, now. She turned on her heel and followed the gurney through swinging double doors, disappearing behind them without a single backward glance. Randy stood paralyzed in the middle of the emergency room, his heart hammering so hard he thought his ribs might crack. Every nerve in his body was screaming Gloria's name, that voice he had not heard in a decade, those eyes that had once looked at him with such love and now held only professional contempt. She was here, she was alive, she was real, and she hated him. His mother grabbed his arm hard enough to bruise. "Randy, Randy, what is wrong? You look like you have seen a ghost." He had. He absolutely had. "Nothing," he lied, the word tasting rotten in his mouth. "I am fine, just worried about Jenna." But he was not worried about Jenna. Every cell in his body was focused on the woman who had just walked away from him, the woman he had searched for until the searching broke him, the woman he had never stopped loving, even when loving her felt like dying slowly. A nurse directed them to the waiting area, institutional chairs bolted to the floor, outdated magazines on scratched tables, a television playing news no one watched. Randy sank into a chair that smelled faintly of disinfectant and despair. His mother sat beside him, talking about something, calling Jenna's family, staying calm, being supportive, but Randy heard nothing over the roar of blood in his ears. Gloria. Gloria was here. Gloria was alive. Gloria was a doctor. She had done it. She had achieved her dream despite everything, and she hated him. 45 minutes crawled past like years. Jenna's parents arrived, her mother in tears, her father demanding answers Randy did not have. Diane tried to comfort them with platitudes Randy barely registered. He stared at the swinging doors where Gloria had disappeared, willing them to open, dreading when they would. Finally, they did. Gloria emerged, her face a carefully constructed mask of professional neutrality, a tablet in her hands. She scanned the waiting room until her gaze landed on their group. Something tightened around her mouth, so subtle that only someone who had studied every expression she owned would notice. But she approached with measured steps. "Ms. Gregg is stable," she announced, her tone purely clinical, the voice she probably used with strangers every day. She experienced a vasovagal syncope episode. Essentially, she fainted due to a combination of dehydration, stress, and low blood sugar. "We are running additional cardiac tests to rule out any underlying arrhythmias, but her vitals have normalized. Blood pressure is 115/72, heart rate is 78, oxygen saturation is 98%. Jenna's mother clutched her husband's arm. "Can we see her? Is she awake?" "She is awake and coherent. Family can see her, but only 2 visitors at a time, and only for 5 minutes. She needs rest." Gloria's eyes flicked to Randy for a fraction of a second. "Are you family?" The question landed like a slap. "He is her fiancé," Diane interjected, her voice sharp with indignation. Gloria's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. "Of course he is." She turned to a nearby nurse. "Show them to Bay 3, 5 minutes maximum." She started to walk away. Randy stood abruptly, his chair scraping loudly against linoleum. "Dr. Tilson, could I speak with you privately for just a moment?" "No." The word was final, absolute. "Your fiancé needs you right now. That is where you should be." "Gloria, please. I looked for you." Her eyes flashed with something hot and dangerous beneath the ice. "I am working. You are keeping me from other patients who need care. If you want to help your fiancée, go be with her." She walked away before he could respond, her spine rigid with barely controlled fury. Randy felt something crack inside his chest. Jenna's parents were already heading toward the treatment area. Randy followed mechanically, his body moving while his mind remained 3 rooms away where Gloria was standing. Bay 3 was separated from the main ER by a curtain. Jenna lay on a hospital bed, an IV line running into her left arm, color slowly returning to her cheeks. She managed a weak smile when she saw him. "Hey," she said, her voice still thin. Sorry for the dramatic exit from our engagement party. Randy took her hand, hating himself for the lie he was about to tell. Do not apologize. You scared me half to death. I scared myself? She squeezed his fingers. I am okay though, just stupid. I skipped lunch because of the dress fitting, and I have been running on coffee and anxiety for 3 days. You need to take better care of yourself. I know. Her eyes searched his face. Randy, are you okay? You look like you have seen a ghost. The accuracy of her words made him flinch. I am fine, just worried about you. But he was not fine. He was shattering into pieces, held together only by the thinnest veneer of social obligation. The nurse ushered them back to the waiting room after exactly 5 minutes. Randy's feet carried him on autopilot while his mind raced with impossible questions. How was Gloria here? How long had she been in Miami? Why had she never contacted him? He excused himself to find a bathroom, another lie, and went looking for Gloria instead. He found her at the nurse's station, writing notes in a patient chart with fierce concentration. 2 other nurses worked nearby, but Randy did not care about an audience anymore. Gloria, please, we need to talk. She did not look up from her chart. No, we do not. I searched for you. For 8 months, I hired investigators. I called everyone we knew. Her pen stopped moving. Not hard enough. The 2 words gutted him. Gloria. Now she looked at him, and the fury in her eyes nearly knocked him backward. You have a fiancé in that treatment bay who needs you. That is where you should be, not here, not bothering me, never bothering me again. I need to understand what happened. What happened is that you believed I was a thief instead of the woman who loved you. What happened is that you chose your mother's lies over me. What happened is that you gave up looking and moved on with your life while I... She stopped herself, visibly regaining control. It does not matter anymore. It was 10 years ago. It matters to me. Well, it does not matter to me. You are engaged. I am working. This conversation is over. She gathered her files and walked away, her white coat billowing behind her. Randy leaned against the nurse's station, his hands shaking, his vision blurring. Through the window of the staff break room, he saw movement. A young girl sitting at a table, doing homework with intense concentration. She could not have been more than 9 or 10 years old. She looked up from her textbook and smiled at something beyond Randy's view, and his heart stopped completely. She had his mother's nose, his father's eyes, his own smile, the exact asymmetrical quirk he saw every morning in the mirror. She wore a soccer jersey, red with white stripes, with the number 10 on the back. 10, his lucky number. The number he had worn in high school when he captained the team. The girl had dark, curly hair like Gloria's, pulled into 2 ponytails secured with pink elastics. She was all long limbs and bright eyes, beautiful in that awkward pre-adolescent way, and she was unmistakably, undeniably, impossibly his. Randy's lungs forgot how to work. His mother appeared beside him, following his gaze. When she saw the girl, all color drained from her face in an instant. Her hand flew to her throat. "Randy," Diane said, her voice strangled and desperate. "We need to leave. Right now." Randy's brain was short-circuiting, unable to process what his eyes were telling him. "Mom, do you see that girl?" Diane grabbed his arm with bruising force. "That woman is dangerous. You remember what she did to us. We are leaving immediately." Randy yanked his arm free, the pieces starting to click together in a way that made him want to vomit. "What did she do, Mom? Tell me exactly what Gloria did." "She stole from us. She disappeared in the middle of the night. She is probably running some kind of scheme right now, using that child as..." Gloria's voice cut across the space between them, sharp as broken glass and twice as dangerous. "Is there a problem here?" She stood 10 feet away, arms crossed over her chest, eyes blazing with protective fury. Behind her, the girl, their daughter, oh God, their daughter, emerged from the break room, backpack slung over one shoulder. "Mom, I finished the biology chapter and started on algebra. Can we go home soon?" The girl's voice was clear and bright, utterly innocent of the bomb she had just detonated. The emergency room went silent. Even the overhead pages seemed to pause. The girl looked at the frozen adults with growing confusion. Her eyes moved from Gloria to Randy to Diane and back again. "What is wrong? Why is everyone staring?" Randy could not breathe, could not think, could not do anything except stare at this child who had his face, this daughter he had never known existed. Gloria's voice shook when she spoke, each word carefully controlled to keep from breaking. "Angela, baby, go back to my office. Please, right now." The girl, Angela, her name was Angela, noticed her mother's distress immediately. Her young face shifted from confusion to concern. "Mom, you are scaring me. What is going on?" "Nothing, sweetheart, just some hospital business. Go to my office. I will be there in 2 minutes. Angela's gaze landed on Randy again, studying his face with uncomfortable intensity. Recognition flickered in her eyes, not of him specifically, but of the resemblance. "Who is he?" The silence was excruciating. Randy forced words through his constricted throat. "I am an old friend of your mother's, just someone she used to know." Angela's face cleared slightly. "Oh, okay." She glanced at her mother one more time, still worried, then headed back toward the office area, though Randy caught her looking back over her shoulder before disappearing around a corner. The moment she was out of sight, Randy turned to Gloria. His voice came out raw, desperate, barely human. "Is she mine?" Gloria's eyes filled with tears that she blinked away furiously. "You do not get to ask me that." "Is she mine?" He was shaking now, his entire world tilting violently off its axis. "Yes." The word was barely a whisper, carried on a breath that sounded like it hurt. "Angela is your daughter. Are you satisfied now?" Diane stepped forward, her voice shrill with panic. "She is lying, Randy. It is just another manipulation, another scheme to get money from you." Gloria laughed, and it was the most terrible sound Randy had ever heard. "You destroyed us. You stole 10 years from that little girl, and you are still standing here lying to his face like you have any moral authority left." Randy's head whipped toward his mother. "What is she talking about?" "Nothing. She is confused, trying to rewrite history to make herself look—" "The prenup, Randy." Gloria's voice was ice and fire simultaneously. "The one on your company letterhead that called me a financial liability, the one that said our baby would have limited parental access to protect company assets, the one your mother showed me the night I left. Ring any bells?" Randy felt the ground disappear beneath his feet. "What prenup? I never wrote any—" He stopped. His mother's face had gone grey, guilt written in every line, in every micro-expression she could not quite control. Gloria was already walking away, her shoulders shaking with what might have been laughter or sobs. She collected Angela from down the hall, wrapped a protective arm around her, and headed for what must have been a staff exit. Randy watched his daughter, disappear into the Miami night with her mother, and understood with terrible, crystalline clarity that his mother had destroyed everything that mattered. "What did you do?" he whispered. Diane said nothing, but her silence was a confession that would haunt him for the rest of his life. Chapter 2. The Mother's Crimes. Randy followed his mother to the parking garage in absolute silence. His mind could not process what had just happened, could not reconcile the image of that little girl. Angela, her name was Angela, and she had his smile, with the lie he had believed like gospel for 10 years. The lie that Gloria had stolen from them and vanished like a criminal running from justice, leaving him with nothing but questions and a hole in his chest that never quite healed. The lie his mother had fed him with such conviction that he had eventually stopped questioning it. Diane walked quickly toward her Mercedes, her designer heels clicking an erratic rhythm on concrete that echoed off the garage walls. Randy grabbed her arm and spun her around with more force than he intended. What prenup? His voice bounced off concrete and steel, returning to him from all directions. Randy, this is absolutely not the time or the place for this conversation. What? Did you do? Each word was its own sentence, bitten off and spat out. Diane tried to pull her arm free, but Randy's grip was iron. Her carefully constructed composure began to crack at the edges. I protected you. That is what mothers do. That is what I have always done. Protected me from what? From the woman I loved, from my own child, from a catastrophic mistake that would have ruined your entire life. Diane's voice rose, echoing across the empty garage. She was going to trap you with a baby. She was a nobody, Randy. A medical assistant from nowhere, with no family, no connections, no money, nothing to offer you except physical attraction and some romantic notion of except love. Randy's voice was deadly quiet now, more dangerous than shouting. She loved me. I loved her. That was supposed to be enough. Diane laughed bitterly. Love does not build empires. Love does not create generational wealth. Love does not establish legacies. You were 25 years old with a revolutionary tech startup and venture capitalists circling. You were about to change the world. She would have been an anchor around your neck, dragging you down into mediocrity. So you what? Made up a prenup to scare her away? Diane looked away, fixing her gaze on something over Randy's shoulder rather than meet his eyes. Mom, look at me and tell me what you did. The silence stretched until Randy thought he might actually scream, might actually shake the truth out of her physically. I had it printed, Diane finally said, her voice flat and emotionless. On your company letterhead, professional quality. I forged your signature using documents you had signed for investor meetings. It outlined very specific terms: limited financial obligation in the event of relationship dissolution, restricted parental access if children resulted from the union, protection of all company assets and intellectual property, characterization of any such children as potential financial liabilities that could threaten business operations. Randy staggered backward until he hit a concrete pillar. He gripped it to stay upright, his knees suddenly unreliable. You forged my signature on legal documents. I did what was necessary to protect your future. And the jewelry? Randy's voice was hoarse. Did she actually steal it, or was that another one of your inventions? Diane's jaw clenched, a muscle jumping in her cheek. Mom, did Gloria steal your jewelry or not? She needed a concrete reason to leave, a reason that would make you angry enough to stop looking for her. Broken hearts heal, betrayal leaves scars. Diane finally met his eyes. I planted my own jewelry in her bag, made sure it would be discovered, called her a thief and threatened to involve the police unless she disappeared immediately and permanently. The world tilted violently. Randy bent over, hands on his knees, and vomited onto the concrete. His entire body rejected the truth, tried to expel it physically. When he straightened, wiping his mouth with the back of his hand, Diane had taken several steps backward. You framed her. You made me believe the woman I loved was a criminal. I made you believe what you needed to believe to move forward with your life. She was pregnant. The roar came from somewhere deep in Randy's chest, from a place he did not know existed. She was carrying my child and you convinced me she was a thief. Do you understand what you did? I saved you from throwing away everything for a moment of poor judgment. I lost everything that mattered because of you. Randy's vision blurred with tears of rage. I lost the woman I loved. I lost 10 years with my daughter. I lost my family. I am your family. You are a monster. The words came out quiet, final. You are a manipulative monster who destroyed the best thing that ever happened to me because it did not fit your plans. Diane's face went white. You are upset. You are not thinking clearly. In a few days, when you have calmed down, In a few days, my lawyers will contact you about severing all financial ties. The condo I bought you, the car, the credit cards, the monthly allowance, all of it ends immediately." Randy pulled out his phone with shaking hands. "You are cut off. Completely." "Randy, you cannot be serious." "I have never been more serious about anything in my entire life." He looked at her, really looked at her, and felt nothing but contempt for the woman who had raised him. "You destroyed my family. You made Gloria believe I saw her as a liability. You made that little girl grow up without a father because of your ego and your obsession with social status. I am your mother. No. You are a woman who gave birth to me and then spent my entire adult life manipulating me for your own purposes. That does not make you my mother. That makes you a narcissist who sees her children as extensions of herself rather than human beings with their own lives." Randy started walking toward his car, but Diane grabbed his arm. "Please, Randy, please, I did this for you. Everything I have ever done has been for you, to give you the best life possible, to make sure you would never struggle like your father and I did when we were young." Randy gently but firmly removed her hand. "You did this for yourself, to live vicariously through my success, because you never had your own, and now you have nothing. Congratulations." He got into his car. Diane stood in the parking garage, illuminated by harsh fluorescent lights, looking suddenly old and small and lost. Part of Randy felt something that might have been pity. Most of him felt nothing at all. He drove back to the Fontainebleau on autopilot, his hands steady on the wheel, while his mind fragmented into 1,000 pieces. Jenna. He had completely forgotten about Jenna. The hotel was chaos when he returned. Guests lingering, asking questions, spreading rumors. Jenna had been taken by ambulance after all, hotel liability concerns, and was being kept overnight for observation at Miami General, different wing from the ER, different world from where Gloria worked. Randy found Jenna's parents in the hotel lobby. They were concerned but calm, the crisis having passed. "She is doing much better," Jenna's mother reported. "Resting comfortably. They will discharge her in the morning after one more round of tests." "I should go see her," Randy said automatically. Jenna's father put a hand on his shoulder. "She is sleeping now. Doctor's orders. Besides, you look like you need sleep yourself. Get some rest. Visit her first thing tomorrow." Randy nodded gratefully and escaped to his suite before anyone could ask questions he could not answer. Alone in the obscenely large room that overlooked the ocean, Randy pulled out his wallet. Tucked behind his credit cards, protected by a plastic sleeve he had bought specifically for this purpose, was a photograph he had carried for 10 years. Gloria, at 22, laughing on a beach, her hair wild in the wind, wearing an old t-shirt and cut-off shorts, barefoot in the sand. Joy radiated from every inch of her. Randy had taken that photo on the most perfect day of his life, the day he realized he wanted to spend the rest of his existence making her laugh exactly like that. He had planned to propose the following week, had bought a ring, simple and elegant because Gloria hated ostentation, had planned a quiet dinner at their favorite restaurant, nothing flashy, just them and a promise of forever. Then she had disappeared, and his mother had explained why, and Randy's world had turned to ash. He remembered the months after Gloria vanished, the frantic searching, the calls to hospitals and police stations, the private investigator who found nothing but dead ends. Gloria had apparently deleted every social media account, changed her phone number, moved to a different state. California, the investigator eventually discovered, but by then the trail was cold. She had gone by a different name for years, Marie Tilson instead of Gloria, her middle name, a name that would not ping any searches Randy conducted. He had looked. God, he had looked. But not hard enough, not long enough. Eventually, the grief had calcified into anger at Gloria for leaving, at himself for not being enough to make her stay, at the universe for being so fundamentally unfair. And through it all, his mother had been there, supportive, understanding, reinforcing the narrative that Gloria had never really loved him, that she had been using him all along, that he was better off without her. All lies. Every single word. Randy pressed the photograph to his chest and cried. He cried for the years he had lost, for the daughter he had never known, for the woman he had failed to fight for when fighting was what she needed most. He cried until his throat was raw and his eyes were swollen and there were no more tears left in his body. When the sun came up over the Atlantic, Randy made 4 phone calls. First, to his lawyer. He wanted his mother cut off completely, financially, legally, emotionally. Wanted it documented and ironclad. No loopholes. Second, to his real estate agent. His Manhattan penthouse went on the market immediately. He wanted out of New York, wanted away from everything that reminded him of the life he had built on lies. Third, to his business partner. Randy was moving to Miami permanently, would work remotely, non-negotiable. Fourth, to the hospital. He needed to speak with Gloria Tilson. They told him she was not scheduled to work for 2 days. They could not give out personal information. Randy thanked them and hung up. He had spent 10 years believing a lie that his mother had constructed with surgical precision. He would spend the rest of his life making up for it. If Gloria would let him, if his daughter would let him, if he could figure out how to rebuild a family he had destroyed through ignorance and cowardice. Chapter 3. The Fortress She Built. 3 days after the emergency room encounter, Randy stood outside a modest apartment building in a quiet Miami neighborhood and questioned every decision that had led him to this moment. He had gotten Gloria's address through connections that were questionably ethical at best. A favor called in from someone in hospital administration who owed him money. Showing up unannounced was invasive, possibly cruel, definitely desperate. But Gloria would not answer the 7 calls he had made to the hospital, would not respond to the 3 letters he had sent to her attention in the ER. He was running out of options and patience with himself. The building was older but well-maintained, tucked into a tree-lined street where children's bicycles leaned against porches and neighbors knew each other's names. A small playground occupied the common area out front, currently empty in the afternoon heat. Randy tried to imagine Angela playing there, wondered if she had friends in the building, if she was happy here, if Gloria had built a good life despite everything. He parked across the street and waited, feeling like a stalker, hating himself a little more with each passing minute. At 4:45, 2 familiar figures rounded the corner on foot. Gloria, still in scrubs from her shift, walked beside a girl in a private school uniform, navy skirt, white polo shirt, knee socks that had slipped down around her ankles. Angela. They were talking animatedly, Angela gesturing wildly about something while Gloria laughed, the sound carrying across the street and piercing Randy straight through the chest. He had forgotten that laugh. No, he had not forgotten it. He had buried it, locked it away in the place where he kept all the pieces of Gloria that hurt too much to remember. Angela's backpack was covered in pins and patches. Mathletes, robotics club, honor roll every semester since 1st grade, Spanish club, a small rainbow flag that said ally. His daughter was brilliant and accomplished, and probably more interesting than anyone Randy had met in a decade of networking with tech innovators. They reached the building entrance, and Gloria glanced up, her eyes sweeping the street with the automatic caution of a woman who had learned to be vigilant. Her gaze landed on Randy's car, and her entire body went rigid. She said something to Angela, who looked over curiously. Gloria's hand went to Angela's shoulder, protective, prepared to intervene. They both went inside, and Randy counted to 300 before following. He knocked on apartment 3C with a hand that would not quite stop shaking. Gloria opened the door, and the fury in her eyes could have melted titanium. "Are you stalking us now?" Her voice was low, dangerous, vibrating with barely restrained rage. "Is that what this is?" "I know this looks bad." "You think?" She stepped into the hallway and pulled the door mostly closed behind her, keeping Angela out of sight. "How did you get my address? Does it matter?" It matters that you think you have the right to show up at my home unannounced after 10 years of silence. It matters that you are violating my privacy and my daughter's safety because you decided you suddenly want to be involved. Our daughter. Gloria's jaw clenched. Do not do that. Do not pull the biology card when you were not there for any of it. When you were building your company and going to galas while I was putting together a crib I bought second-hand and figuring out how to breastfeed while studying for medical boards. Randy flinched. I know what my mother did. All of it. The fake prenup, the forged signature, the planted jewelry, the threats about your medical school applications. I know everything. Gloria's anger faltered for just a fraction of a second before reconstructing itself even stronger. Congratulations, you figured out what I lived through a decade too late. I need to talk to you, please. Give me 10 minutes. Why? So you can feel better about yourself? So you can apologize and move on with your perfect life and your perfect fiancé? My life is not perfect. It has not been perfect since the day you left. Gloria laughed bitterly. Oh, please. I saw your engagement party. 200 people drinking champagne that cost more than my monthly rent. Your beautiful socialite fiancée, who probably has never worried about money a day in her life. You look like you did just fine without me. I ended the engagement. That night, in the hospital parking lot. Jenna and I are done. That stopped Gloria cold. What? And I cut my mother out of my life completely, legally, financially, emotionally. She is dead to me. Randy's voice was steady despite the tremor in his hands. I sold my Manhattan penthouse, put it on the market the next morning. I am moving to Miami permanently. Gloria stared at him like he had started speaking in tongues. Why would you do that? Because my daughter is here. Randy's voice cracked on the words. Because even if you never forgive me, even if you hate me for the rest of your life, she deserves to know her father. She deserved that 10 years ago. I know, and I will regret that every day for the rest of my existence. But I am asking you, begging you, for a chance to know her now, to try to make up for even a fraction of what I missed. Gloria's eyes shimmered with unshed tears. She was clearly furious at herself for having. You do not get to just show up and play daddy because it is suddenly convenient for you, because you found out and your conscience kicked in. It is not about convenience. It is about doing what I should have done a decade ago, fighting for you, for her, for us. There is no us, Randy. There has not been an us for 10 years. You made sure of that when you chose to believe your mother over me. I did not choose to believe her. She manipulated me with fabricated evidence and you let her. Gloria's voice rose before she caught herself and brought it back down. You let her convince you that I was someone I was not. You did not fight for me. You did not trust me enough to come to me with the accusations, to ask for my side, to give me the benefit of the doubt. You just accepted her version of events and moved on. I looked for you. I hired a private investigator. I called everyone we knew. For how long, Randy? How long did you look before you gave up? The question was a knife between his ribs. 8 months. 8 months. And then what? You just decided I was not worth it anymore. I thought you were gone. I thought you had stolen from my family and disappeared and wanted nothing to do with me. What was I supposed to think? You were supposed to think that the woman who loved you, who was talking about future plans and looking at apartments together just 2 weeks before, would not suddenly become a criminal overnight. You were supposed to know me well enough to realize something did not add up. Randy had no defense because she was absolutely right. Gloria wrapped her arms around herself. Do you have any idea what it is like to be 23 years old, pregnant and homeless? To sit in a women's shelter staring at a positive pregnancy test and realizing you are completely alone? Randy felt sick. I worked 3 jobs while pregnant, Gloria continued, her voice hollow. Waitress breakfast and lunch shifts, gas station attendant in the evenings, night cleaning crew for office buildings. I slept 4 hours a night and saved every penny I could for when the baby came. Gloria, she held up a hand. I applied to medical schools using my middle name, Marie Tilson instead of Gloria. I was terrified your mother would make good on her threat, that she would find me and destroy every application, so I became someone else. For almost 3 years I was Marie Tilson, single mother trying to claw her way into a medical career. I did not know. Of course you did not know, that was the point. Gloria wiped her eyes angrily. Angela was born 2 months premature, 62 days in the NICU, 62 days of watching my tiny baby fight to breathe through tubes and wires while I worked full-time to pay for the parts of her care that insurance did not cover. I was drowning in medical debt, $83,000 by the time she finally came home. Randy leaned against the hallway wall, unable to stay upright anymore. I started medical school at UCLA when she was 4 months old, brought her to lectures in a carrier, fed her in bathroom stalls between classes, studied while she slept, which was never long enough. I failed my first anatomy exam because she had colic and cried for 72 hours straight, and I had not slept in 3 days. You should not have had to do that alone. But I did. And you want to know the worst part? Gloria looked at him with devastating honesty. I was good at it. I was a good mother. I kept her safe and loved and fed. I graduated top of my class despite everything. I matched into emergency medicine on my first try. I built a life for us. I do not doubt that for a second. But she still asks about you. Every birthday, every Father's Day, every school event where other kids have their dads, she asks why you did not want us. The words destroyed him. What did you tell her? The truth. That you believed I was someone I was not. That you chose to believe lies instead of fighting for us. That you did not love us enough to try harder. Gloria's voice broke. I told her you did not want us, because I needed her to stop hoping you would show up one day. I needed her to move on so she could be happy. Randy was crying now, not bothering to hide it. I did want you, both of you. I never stopped wanting you. Then why did you give up looking? Because I thought you hated me. Because my mother showed me police reports about the stolen jewelry. Because every lead went nowhere and every day without you hurt more than the last. Because I was weak and stupid, and I let her convince me that moving on was the healthy thing to do. Well, congratulations. You moved on. You built your empire. You found someone else. You were living your best life while I was explaining to our daughter why her father did not care enough to be there. Randy slid down the wall until he was sitting on the hallway floor. I am so sorry. God, Gloria. I am so sorry for all of it. Gloria looked down at him, and something in her expression shifted slightly. Not forgiveness, just the tiniest crack in her armor. What do you want from me, Randy? I want to know my daughter. I want to be her father, if she will let me. I want to make up for the 10 years I missed, even though I know that is impossible. And if I say no, if I tell you to leave us alone. Randy looked up at her. Then I will respect that, but please do not say no. Please give me a chance to prove I have changed, that I will not fail her the way I failed you. Gloria was quiet for a long time, her arms still wrapped around herself like armor. Finally she said, 1 hour, supervised, in public. If she wants to meet you, I will arrange it. But Randy, if you hurt her, if you make promises you do not keep, if you disappear when this gets hard, I will make your life a living hell. I believe you. And this is not about you and me. This is about her. Only her. I understand. Gloria pulled out her phone. Give me your number. I will talk to Angela, explain the situation, and let you know her decision. Randy rattled off his number. Gloria added it to her contacts without saving a name, just the digits. You really sold your penthouse? She asked. Listed it yesterday morning. My real estate agent thinks I have lost my mind. Have you? Randy met her eyes. Probably. But it is the sanest thing I have done in 10 years. Gloria shook her head slowly, something that might have been the ghost of a smile touching her lips. I will call you within 2 days, maybe 3. I need time to figure out how to explain this to her without traumatizing her further. Take all the time you need. And Randy, if you change your mind, if you decide this is too hard or too complicated or too much responsibility, tell me now. Do not drag her through this just to bail later. I am not going to bail, ever. I swear on everything I have. Gloria studied his face like she was trying to read his soul. We will see. She went back into her apartment and closed the door. Randy sat on the hallway floor for another 5 minutes, trying to remember how to breathe normally. On Saturday, assuming Angela said yes, he would meet his daughter for the first time, and he would have to explain why he had not been there for the first 10 years of her life. Chapter 4. The Daughter Who Needed Her Father. Saturday morning arrived with the kind of perfect Florida weather that felt like mockery. Cloudless sky, gentle breeze, temperature just comfortable enough to make Randy acutely aware of his own sweating. He had not slept. Had spent 3 nights in his hotel room rehearsing what to say to a 9-year-old girl who had every right to hate him. Every version of the speech sounded inadequate, defensive, or patronizing. He had finally given up on planning and decided to follow her lead, answer honestly, and accept whatever judgment she rendered. He arrived at Brickell Avenue Park 45 minutes early, carrying 3 beverages from the coffee shop 2 blocks away: black coffee for himself, coffee with 2 sugars, and a splash of cream for Gloria, in case she still drank it that way, and hot chocolate for Angela. The gesture felt pathetically insufficient, but it was something tangible he could offer. At exactly 10 o'clock, Gloria appeared with Angela. Randy's heart stopped and restarted in a new rhythm. His daughter wore jeans and a red soccer jersey with Tilson printed across the back in white letters. Her hair was pulled into a high ponytail, and she walked with a confidence that reminded Randy of his own father, head up, shoulders back, ready to face whatever came next. She looked so much like his dad that Randy felt a physical ache in his chest. Gloria spotted Randy and said something to Angela, who nodded seriously. They approached together, Gloria's hand on Angela's shoulder in a gesture that was equal parts supportive and protective. Angela, Gloria said carefully, her voice neutral, this is Randy Eicher. We knew each other a long time ago, before you were born. Angela's eyes were sharp, assessing, much older than 9. You are my biological father. Not dad, not father, biological father. The clinical term created distance, established boundaries. This child had been taught to protect herself. Randy swallowed hard. Yes, I am. Why are you here now? The question was direct, unflinching, delivered with the kind of brutal honesty that children excel at before society teaches them to soften the truth. Because I did not know about you until last week, Randy said, abandoning all his rehearsed speeches in favor of raw truth. And the moment I found out you existed, nothing could have kept me away. Why did you not know? Randy glanced at Gloria, who gave him a slight nod. Permission to be honest. My mother lied to me about your mom. She told me things that were not true, and I believed her instead of fighting harder to find out what really happened. That was my fault. I should have tried harder. I should have never stopped looking. Angela crossed her arms, the gesture so reminiscent of Gloria that Randy almost smiled despite the circumstances. Mom says you thought she was a thief. I did. My mother planted evidence to make me believe that. But I still should not have accepted it so easily. I should have known your mom better than that. But you did not. The accusation landed like a physical blow. No, I did not. And that is the worst mistake I have ever made in my entire life. Angela tilted her head, studying him with uncomfortable intensity. Mom says you are rich now. I have money, yes. Did you think about us? When you were getting rich? Randy's throat closed. I thought about your mother every single day, wondered where she was, if she was okay, if she was happy. But I did not know you existed, so I did not think about you specifically. If I had known, if I had any idea, you would have what? Angela interrupted. Dropped everything to come find us? Yes, in a heartbeat. Angela was quiet for a moment, processing. Then, I am good at math. Are you good at math? The subject change was abrupt, clearly a test to see how he would handle her redirecting the conversation. Randy followed her lead. I am decent at it, not nearly as good as I would need to be to keep up with you, I bet. Your backpack says you are on the mathletes team. I won regionals last year, placed third in the state competition. Pride bloomed in Randy's chest, immediate and overwhelming. That is incredible. I also play soccer, left wing. I scored 12 goals this season. 12? That is outstanding. Do you play soccer? I did, in high school. I was terrible at it, but I loved it anyway. Angela almost smiled. Almost. What position? Midfielder. I was better at passing than scoring. That is an important position. Coach says midfielders are the heart of the team. They see the whole field. Your coach sounds smart. Silence settled between them, not quite comfortable but not hostile either. Gloria watched from a bench 15 feet away, giving them space but ready to intervene if needed. Can we sit? Randy gestured to a different bench. Angela looked to her mother for permission. Gloria nodded. They sat, leaving about 2 feet of space between them. Randy offered the hot chocolate. I brought you this. I did not know if you liked it. Angela took it carefully, examining it like it might contain a trap. I do. Thank you. You are welcome. She sipped the drink, then said quietly, I used to make up stories about you when I was little. Randy's heart cracked clean through. What kind of stories? That you were a spy on a secret mission, or an astronaut living on the International Space Station, or a doctor working in a remote village somewhere without phones. Angela stared at her cup. I told myself you had to be doing something really important. That is why you could not come home to us. Angela. But you were not doing anything important. You were just in New York. That is not even far away. 3-hour flight. Mom checked once when I asked. Randy had no defense because there was no defense to give. I wanted you at my 5th birthday party, Angela continued, her voice small now, younger than 9. I blew out the candles and wished for you to show up. Mom made a chocolate cake with strawberry frosting because it was my favorite. I wished so hard I thought maybe magic was real and you would walk through the door. Randy was crying openly now, not bothering to hide it. I did not know, I swear to you, if I had known. You would have what? Dropped everything to come to some kid's birthday party? Yes, without a second thought, without hesitation. Angela looked at him, tears welling in her own eyes. I do not believe you. I do not blame you. I have to earn your trust. How? By showing up, by being here, by proving that I mean what I say. Nothing will keep me away from you now. Angela wiped her eyes with the back of her hand, angry at herself for crying. Mom says you cut off your own mother because of what she did to us. I did, completely. Does that make you sad? Randy considered the question seriously. Yes, but not as sad as missing another day of your life would make me. Angela was quiet, processing. What if I decide I do not want you here? The question was a knife between his ribs, twisting. Then I will respect your decision, but I hope you will give me a chance first. Angela drank more hot chocolate, her young face serious beyond her years. Finally, I have conditions. Okay. You do not get to call yourself my dad. Not yet. You have to earn that title. That is fair. You do not get to make promises you will not keep. If you say you will be somewhere, you have to actually show up. On time. I will. Every single time. And you do not get to hurt my mom ever again. She has been through enough. She does not deserve more pain. Randy's voice was thick with emotion. I will never hurt her again. I promise. You already did hurt her once. That is the problem. That is why this is hard. She was too perceptive, this child. Too aware of adult complexities she should not have to navigate. Randy simultaneously hated that Gloria had to raise their daughter alone and was in awe of the strong, intelligent, compassionate person Angela had become. You are right, Randy said. I did hurt her, badly, and I will spend the rest of my life trying to make up for it, to be worthy of both of you. Angela studied him with those eyes that saw too much. Do you still love her? The question caught him completely off guard. Yes. Does she know that? I do not know. You should tell her. She deserves to know the truth. Randy almost smiled. You sound like her. Straightforward, no games. She says lying makes everything worse. That honesty might hurt in the moment, but lies hurt forever. She is absolutely right about that. Angela finished her hot chocolate and stood abruptly. I have soccer practice in an hour. Mom needs to take me home to change. Randy stood too, his allocated time already evaporating. Can I see you again, next week? Angela looked toward Gloria, who had stood and was walking over. Mom, can he come again next week? Gloria's expression was carefully neutral, revealing nothing. If you want him to. Angela turned back to Randy, and he held his breath waiting for her verdict. Same time next week, but you have to actually show up. 30 minutes early, not late. I will be here 45 minutes early. Do not be weird about it. Randy laughed despite the tears still wet on his face. I will try not to be weird about it. Okay. Angela started toward Gloria, then paused and looked back. You really do have my eyes. Everyone says so. You have your mother's strength and courage. That is infinitely better than my eyes. Angela almost smiled again, a real smile this time that transformed her entire face. Then she walked to Gloria, who wrapped an arm around her shoulders and guided her toward the parking lot. Randy stood alone in the park, watching his daughter leave, his heart simultaneously shattered and overflowing. He had gotten 1 hour with her, and she had given him permission to try again next week. It was more than he deserved and not nearly enough, but it was a beginning. Chapter 5. Building what was broken. Randy showed up to Brickell Avenue Park 42 minutes early the following Saturday. He carried the now familiar coffee and hot chocolate, but this time he also brought a soccer ball. Professional quality, the same brand he had seen in the park equipment shed during their last meeting. Angela arrived with Gloria at exactly 10 o'clock. She spotted the ball immediately. You brought a soccer ball. I thought maybe you could show me some of your moves. If you want to, no pressure. Angela's face lit up with the first genuine smile Randy had seen from her. Really? You want to? I would love to. They moved to an open area of grass while Gloria settled onto her usual bench with the coffee Randy had brought. She accepted it with a quiet thank you that felt like progress, even if minimal. Angela was exceptional with the ball. Not just good for her age, genuinely skilled in ways that suggested natural talent, combined with serious training. She demonstrated several advanced moves, explained her team's strategic formations, and talked with infectious enthusiasm about upcoming games and regional tournaments. Randy was rusty. His movements nowhere near as fluid as they had been in high school, but muscle memory carried him through well enough to keep up reasonably. More importantly, Angela seemed to enjoy having someone to practice with who understood the game. You are not as terrible as I thought you would be, Angela said after Randy successfully blocked one of her shots. High praise from a future professional. I am not going to be a professional. I am going to be a doctor like Mom, Soccer is just for fun. You could do both. Medical school does not start until you are at least 22. Angela considered this seriously. That is true. Maybe I will play in college. Mom says I am good enough for a scholarship if I keep working. Your mum is right. They played for 45 minutes. When they finished, Angela was breathing hard and grinning widely. Randy felt muscles he had forgotten he owned, protesting the sudden activity, but he could not remember the last time he had been this happy. They sat on the grass, and Angela pulled out her water bottle decorated with stickers from places she had apparently visited: San Diego, Los Angeles, Miami, the Grand Canyon. "You have traveled a lot," Randy observed. "Mom says seeing the world is important. We drive places when she has time off. We went to the Grand Canyon last summer. It was incredible." "I bet it was." Angela picked at the grass. "I have a game next Saturday. Coach says we are playing the best team in the league." Randy's heart jumped. "That sounds like a big game." "It is. We have never beaten them. They have this forward who is basically impossible to stop." "Sounds challenging." Angela glanced at him, then away. All the other kids' parents come to games. The implication hung in the air between them. "Would you want me to come?" Randy asked carefully. "If your mom says it is okay?" Angela's face struggled between hope and caution. "You would want to watch me play, even though it might be boring." "Angela, watching you do anything would never be boring. I would be honored to come." She bit her lip. "You promise you will actually show up? Not just say you will and then forget?" The question broke his heart. "I promise. If you want me there, I will be there. Early. It is at 10 in the morning, Hamilton Park. I will be there at 9:30. Angela smiled, then caught herself and tried to look less excited. "Okay, but only if Mom says it is okay." Gloria called out that their time was almost up. Angela stood, then surprised Randy by offering her hand to help him up from the grass. He took it, and for a moment they were connected, palm to palm, father and daughter. "Same time next week?" Angela asked. "I will be here, earlier than today. You are going to show up like an hour early one of these times, and it is going to be weird." Randy laughed. "Probably." Angela ran to Gloria, who stood and wrapped an arm around her. Randy watched them walk away together, their heads bent close in conversation. His phone buzzed 10 minutes later, a text from an unknown number that could only be Gloria. "She wants you at the soccer game. Hamilton Park, 10 a.m. Saturday. Do not be late." Randy stared at the message, reading it 3 times to make sure he was not hallucinating. "I will be there at 9:30, he typed back. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally, 9:45 is fine. Do not be excessive. Randy smiled at his phone like an idiot. He spent the next week clearing his schedule, moving meetings, delegating tasks. His business partner called him at midnight on Wednesday. "Are you having a nervous breakdown?" his partner asked without preamble. "Because you are acting like someone having a nervous breakdown." "I am fine. You moved to Miami. You sold your penthouse. You are refusing meetings with investors. What is going on?" Randy looked out his hotel window at the Miami skyline. "I am getting my life back." "That is cryptic and unhelpful. I know. I will explain everything when I can. But right now, I need you to trust me." His partner sighed. "Fine. But if you start wearing crystals and talking about manifestation, I am staging an intervention." Saturday arrived. Randy showed up at Hamilton Park at 9:40, compromising between his instinct and Gloria's instructions. He bought a professional camera on Friday. If he was going to watch his daughter play, he wanted to capture every moment. Gloria and Angela were already there, Angela warming up with her team. Gloria did a visible double-take when she saw Randy. "You actually came." "I said I would." "People say a lot of things." Randy wanted to address that comment, to promise that he was not like people, but Angela spotted him and waved enthusiastically. He waved back, his chest tight with an emotion he could not quite name. "Can I sit with you?" Randy asked Gloria. She hesitated, then nodded toward the bleachers. "Sure." They sat, and Randy was acutely aware of her proximity, close enough that her perfume reached him, something floral he had never been able to identify but would recognize anywhere. Close enough that when she shifted, their shoulders nearly touched. "She has been talking about this game all week," Gloria said quietly. "Excited that you are coming, but also terrified you will change your mind." "I will not change my mind." Gloria looked at him. "We will see." The game started. Angela was incredible, fast, strategic, aggressive without being reckless. 15 minutes in, she intercepted a pass, dribbled past 2 defenders, and scored with a perfectly placed shot to the far corner of the net. Randy was on his feet before he realized he was standing, cheering loud enough that other parents looked over. Gloria laughed, actually laughed, beside him. Angela looked to the bleachers, found them, and her face broke into the biggest smile Randy had seen yet. She waved. He waved back, his vision blurring with tears he did not bother to hide. "She scored for you," Gloria said softly. "She scored for herself. She is amazing. She really is." Randy looked at Gloria, found her watching him with an expression he could not quite read. "What?" "Nothing. Just, I forgot what it was like to share this. The pride, the joy. It is different when someone else sees it too. Thank you for letting me be here. Thank you for showing up." They watched the rest of the game together in comfortable silence. Angela scored again in the second half. Her team won 4-1. After the game, Angela ran to them, sweaty and triumphant, still high on adrenaline and victory. Did you see both goals?" "I saw everything," Randy said. "You were phenomenal." "The second goal was better. The first one the goalie should have blocked, but the second was placed perfectly." They were both perfect. Angela beamed, then without warning or apparent thought she hugged him. It lasted maybe 3 seconds, but in those 3 seconds Randy felt something fundamental shift in his chest. A piece of himself he had not known was missing, clicking into place. When Angela pulled back, she looked almost surprised at herself. Gloria's eyes were wet with tears. She was blinking away rapidly. "Can we get ice cream?" Angela asked. "To celebrate?" Gloria started to say something, probably that they should go home, that Randy had fulfilled his obligation, but Randy spoke first. "Only if it is okay with your mum." Gloria studied his face for a long moment. Something in her expression softened fractionally. "Ice cream sounds good." They went to a small shop 3 blocks from the park. Angela got chocolate chip, Gloria got vanilla, Randy got strawberry. They sat outside on a bench, Angela between them, talking a mile a minute about the game, about her teammates, about the regional tournament in 6 weeks. Randy caught Gloria's eye over Angela's head. She gave him a small, tentative smile. It felt like forgiveness might be possible. Someday. Maybe. For now, this was enough. Sitting in the Miami sunshine with his daughter between them, sharing ice cream and stories, building something new from the ruins of what they had lost. Chapter 6. When the past attacks. 2 months passed in a rhythm Randy had never known he wanted but could not imagine living without. Every Saturday, the park. Then soccer games. Angela's team made it to regional semi-finals, then her science fair, where she won first place for a project analyzing renewable energy efficiency in urban environments. Randy sat in the audience during her presentation, bursting with pride as she fielded questions from judges with the confidence of someone 3 times her age. The supervised visits gradually became less supervised. Gloria no longer sat 20 feet away, maintaining vigilant distance. She sat beside Randy, making occasional comments, slowly relaxing the protective walls she had built around herself and their daughter. They were building something. Randy did not know what to call it. Not friendship exactly, too complicated for that, but something real and growing. One evening in early December, Angela asked if Randy could help her build a solar-powered model car for her engineering club. Gloria hesitated, then agreed he could come to their apartment for the project. Being in Gloria's home for the first time felt surreal. The apartment was small but warm, full of books and Angela's artwork on the refrigerator and photos chronicling the life Randy had missed. Angela as a baby, gap-toothed at 7, winning her first soccer trophy at 8. Gloria's medical school graduation with Angela at 4 years old in the audience. 10 years of memories he would never have. They worked on the car at the kitchen table while Gloria made dinner, something that smelled incredible and made Randy's stomach growl. Angela was focused and meticulous, following the instructions with precision but not afraid to improvise when something did not work. "You are good at this," Randy said, holding a piece in place while she secured it. "Mom says I get it from you, the building things part. She says she is terrible with spatial reasoning." Randy glanced toward the kitchen where Gloria was pointedly not looking at them. "She said that?" "Yeah. When I asked about you last year, I wanted to know what parts of me came from you." Angela adjusted a solar panel carefully. "She said I probably got math and building from you, and stubbornness and determination from her. She is not wrong about any of that." Angela was quiet for a moment then. "Do you have other kids, besides me?" The question landed like a punch. "No, you are my only child." "What about your fiancé? The one Mom said you were engaged to?" "We are not together anymore. I ended that relationship the night I found out about you." Angela looked up at him, searching his face. "Because of me. Because of you and your mom. Because I realized I'd been living half a life, trying to fill a hole that could only be filled by you two." "That is kind of dramatic," Randy laughed. "Maybe, but it is true." Angela went back to the model car. "I am glad you ended it. I did not like the idea of sharing you with someone else. Is that selfish?" "No, that is completely understandable." They worked in companionable silence for a while. The car started to take shape, and Angela's excitement grew with each piece they added. At dinner, Gloria had made chicken and rice with vegetables, perfectly seasoned. Angela talked about the upcoming school musical. She had auditioned for a role and was waiting to hear if she had been cast. "What show is it?" Randy asked. "Annie. I tried out for Molly, one of the orphans, not the lead or anything, but a real part." "When do you find out?" "Tomorrow. Mrs. Henderson is posting the cast list after school." Angela pushed rice around her plate. "I probably did not get it. There were a lot of good auditions." "I bet you were great," Randy said. "We will find out tomorrow." Angela looked between her parents. "Would you both come to the show, if I get a part?" Gloria's fork paused halfway to her mouth. Randy answered carefully, "I would love to come, if your mum thinks that is okay." Angela turned to Gloria with pleading eyes. "Mom?" Gloria set down her fork. "Of course I will come, baby. You know I always come to your performances. I mean both of you, together, sitting together." The implication hung in the air, that they were becoming something that could be described as together, that Angela was starting to see them as a unit rather than two separate people connected only by biology. Gloria looked at Randy, something complicated passing across her face. "If you want us both there, we will both be there." Angela smiled so wide it looked like it hurt. "Promise?" "Promise," Gloria and Randy said simultaneously. The next day, Angela got the part of Molly. She called Randy herself to tell him, breathless with excitement, and for the first time in 2 months she called him Dad instead of Randy. She corrected herself immediately. "Sorry, I meant Randy. I did not mean to." "Angela," Randy interrupted, his voice thick. "You can call me whatever feels right to you." Silence on the other end of the line. Then, really? Really? Okay, thanks, Dad. Randy sat in his new Miami townhouse. He had finally closed on a property and cried with joy. That Tuesday afternoon, everything exploded. Gloria called him, voice tight with panic Randy had not heard since the emergency room. "Randy, I need you at my apartment. Right now. What is wrong? Just come, please." He broke every speed limit getting there. Gloria opened the door before he could knock, her face pale, a legal document trembling in her hands. "What happened?" Randy asked, stepping inside. Gloria handed him the papers wordlessly. Diane Iker ver Gloria Tilson, petition for court-ordered grandparental visitation rights with minor child Angela Marie Tilson. Randy's vision went red. "She has no grounds," he said, forcing his voice to stay calm even as rage flooded his system. "We will fight this. She will not win. She claims she has been denied access to her only grandchild." Gloria's voice shook, "that I am being vindictive and punitive, that Angela deserves to know her family." Randy scanned the petition. His mother's lawyers had constructed a narrative that painted Diane as a grieving widow with no other family, desperately seeking connection with her only grandchild. Painted Gloria as bitter and manipulative, keeping a child from her grandmother out of spite. It would have been laughable if it were not so dangerous. "She threatened my daughter," Gloria continued, pacing the small living room. "She destroyed our lives, and now she wants court-ordered access to Angela. Randy, I cannot let that woman near her. I cannot." "She will not get near her, I promise you." Gloria whirled on him. "You cannot promise that. The courts might rule in her favor. They might force me to allow visits, and I would rather move to another state than let that happen." Randy's stomach dropped. "Do not do that, please. We will fight her and win." "How can you be sure?" "Because I will testify against her. I will tell the court exactly what she did. The forged documents, the planted evidence, the threats, all of it." Gloria stared at him. "You would testify against your own mother?" "She stopped being my mother the day she destroyed us. Yes, I will testify against her. Gladly." Gloria sank onto the couch, the fight draining out of her. "This is never going to end, is it? She is always going to find new ways to hurt us." Randy sat beside her, careful to maintain respectful distance. "This is the end. I promise. We end this now, permanently. I am scared. I know, so am I, but we are going to fight her together." Gloria looked at him, tears streaming down her face. "Together?" "Yes, you and me. We are in this together." Gloria nodded, wiping her eyes. "Okay, together." Randy called his lawyer that night. By morning they had a strategy. Expose Diane's lies, present evidence of her manipulation, and have Randy testify as a character witness against his own mother. The court date was set for 3 weeks later. Randy spent those weeks gathering evidence, the forged prenup, financial records showing the jewelry had never been reported stolen to insurance companies, testimonials from people who had witnessed Diane's controlling behavior over the years, his own sworn statement detailing everything she had done. The night before the hearing, Randy could not sleep. He sat on his balcony, staring at the Miami skyline, terrified that somehow his mother would win and he would lose Angela all over again. His phone buzzed at midnight. Gloria. "Cannot sleep either," Randy called her. She answered on the first ring. "Hey," she said softly. "Hey, you okay?" Terrified. "You?" "Same." They sat in silence for a moment, connected across the city by phone lines and shared fear. "Randy," Gloria said finally, "thank you for fighting for us, for standing against her. Always. I will always fight for you both. I know, I am starting to believe that. Good, because it is true." More silence. Then Gloria said, "What if she wins?" "She will not." "But what if she does?" Randy gripped the phone tighter. "Then we appeal, and we keep fighting until she has no options left. We do not give up. Ever. Okay. Okay. Gloria? Yeah? We are going to get through this, all three of us, I promise. Gloria's voice was thick with tears. I really hope you are right. I am. Get some sleep. We have a battle to win tomorrow. You too. After they hung up, Randy sat alone with his thoughts until dawn broke over the ocean, painting the sky in shades of hope and possibility. Then he got dressed, put on his best suit, and prepared to destroy his mother in court. Chapter 7. The Walls That Finally Fall. The courtroom was smaller and more austere than Randy had expected. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, casting everything in harsh, unflattering illumination. He sat beside Gloria at the defendant's table. Legally, she was the defendant here, fighting to protect Angela from court-ordered visitation. Their lawyers flanked them. Diane sat across the aisle with her own attorney, dressed in conservative navy, playing the role of concerned grandmother with practiced precision. Randy felt nothing but contempt. The judge was a woman in her 60s named Hernandez, with sharp eyes that seemed to miss nothing and a reputation for not tolerating manipulation. Randy hoped that reputation was earned. This is a hearing regarding grandparental visitation rights, Judge Hernandez began, reviewing documents on her bench. Mrs. Iker, your petition claims you have been denied access to your granddaughter. Is that accurate? Diane's lawyer stood smoothly. Yes, Your Honor. Mrs. Iker is a widow with no other living family. Her only son's child represents her sole remaining connection to her bloodline and legacy. Ms. Tilson has refused all contact between Mrs. Iker and the child, despite Mrs. Iker's repeated attempts to establish a relationship. The lawyer made it sound reasonable, even sympathetic. Randy's hands clenched into fists under the table. Judge Hernandez turned to Gloria's side. Ms. Tilson, how do you respond? Gloria's lawyer stood, a sharp woman named Catherine Martinez, who specialized in family law. Your Honor, we oppose this petition on multiple grounds. Mrs. Iker has demonstrated a consistent pattern of manipulation, dishonesty, and harmful behavior toward both Ms. Tilson and Mr. Iker. We have substantial evidence that contact with Mrs. Iker would be detrimental to the child's well-being. Those are serious allegations, Judge Hernandez said. We have documentation to support every claim, Catherine replied. The hearing proceeded with clinical efficiency. Diane's lawyer went first, painting a picture of a lonely grandmother who simply wanted to know her only grandchild. He emphasized Randy's estrangement from Diane, suggested Randy had poisoned Gloria against his mother for his own purposes. It was masterfully done, completely dishonest, but masterfully done. Then Catherine presented their evidence. The forged prenup went first. A forensic document examiner testified that the signature was not Randy's, that it had been created using sophisticated digital manipulation of Randy's legitimate signature from other documents. The paper stock and printer characteristics were inconsistent with any equipment Randy's company had used during that time period. Diane's face went pale. Next came the jewelry. Catherine produced insurance records showing that Diane had never filed a claim for stolen jewelry. Police reports from 10 years ago revealed inconsistencies in Diane's statement, timestamps that did not align, details that changed between initial report and follow-up interview. Diane's lawyer objected repeatedly. Judge Hernandez overruled him each time. Then Randy was called to testify. He took the stand with a hand that would not quite stop shaking. The bailiff administered the oath. Randy swore to tell the truth, the whole truth. Nothing but the truth. He meant every word. Catherine approached the witness box. Mr. Iker, can you describe your current relationship with your mother? Randy looked directly at Diane. I have no relationship with my mother. I severed all contact with her the night I discovered what she had done to Gloria and Angela. And what had she done? She fabricated evidence to frame the woman I loved as a thief. She forged legal documents to make Gloria believe I saw her as a financial liability who should be kept away from my assets. She threatened to destroy Gloria's medical career if Gloria told me about the pregnancy. She systematically lied to me for 10 years, maintaining the fiction that Gloria was a criminal who had stolen from our family and deserved to be abandoned. Diane's lawyer half rose from his seat. "Objection, Your Honor. This is inflammatory and—" "Overruled," Judge Hernandez said sharply. "This goes directly to the question of character. Continue, Mr. Iker." Randy's voice strengthened. "My mother could not accept that I loved someone she deemed beneath our social status. So she destroyed that relationship through calculated manipulation. She succeeded for 10 years. During that time, I built my company. I became successful by her standards. I got engaged to someone she approved of, and I was miserable every single day because the woman I loved was gone, and I did not know the truth about why." "Did your mother express remorse for these actions?" "No. When I confronted her, she said she did what any mother would do, that she protected me from a mistake that would have ruined my life." "Do you believe your mother should have court-ordered access to your daughter?" Randy looked at Diane, letting her see everything he felt, the anger, the betrayal, the absolute resolution. "Absolutely not. She is manipulative and dishonest. She would hurt Angela to maintain control over me. I will not allow that to happen. Even though severing contact means losing your only remaining family." Randy's voice did not waver. "I did not lose my family. I found it. Angela and Gloria are my family. My mother lost me the day she chose her pride and her social ambitions over my happiness and my future." Judge Hernandez made extensive notes. Diane sat frozen, her face a mask trying and failing to hide devastation. Catherine had a few more questions, establishing timeline and context. Then Diane's lawyer cross-examined, trying to suggest Randy was overstating things, that family disputes were complicated, that cutting off one's mother entirely was an extreme overreaction. Randy did not budge. "My mother created false legal documents and forged my signature. That is not a family dispute. That is fraud. My mother threatened to destroy an innocent woman's career. That is not complicated. That is abuse of power. I cut her off because she is toxic, and I will not expose my daughter to that toxicity." When Randy stepped down from the witness stand, he felt 10 pounds lighter. The judge asked a few clarifying questions of both lawyers, reviewed the evidence one more time, then addressed Diane directly. "Mrs. Iker, I have heard testimony that you fabricated evidence, forged legal documents, and threatened a young woman. Do you dispute these allegations?" Diane stood slowly, her lawyer placing a hand on her arm in warning. "Your Honor, I did what I thought was best for my son. I was protecting him from a relationship that is not what I asked." Judge Hernandez's voice was steel. "Did you forge documents and threaten Ms. Tilson, yes or no?" Diane's mouth opened and closed. Her lawyer whispered something urgent. Finally, she said quietly, "I believed I was acting in my son's best interests. So yes, you did these things." Diane's silence was answer enough. Judge Hernandez's expression hardened in a way that made Randy's heart soar with hope. "I am denying this petition. Furthermore, I am issuing a restraining order. Mrs. Iker, you are not to contact Ms. Tilson, Mr. Iker, or the minor child Angela Tilson through any means, directly or indirectly. No phone calls, no letters, no third-party messages. Violation will result in immediate contempt charges and possible arrest. Do you understand?" Diane swayed slightly. "Your Honor, please." "Do you understand the terms of this order?" "Yes," Diane whispered. "This hearing is concluded." The gavel came down with finality. Randy turned to Gloria, who had tears streaming down her face. They looked at each other, and without thinking, Randy pulled her into a hug. She stiffened for half a second, then melted into him, her hands fisting in the back of his jacket. "We won," he whispered into her hair. "We won," she repeated, voice muffled against his shoulder. They pulled apart when Catherine cleared her throat gently, but Gloria's hand found Randy's and squeezed hard. Diane stood, gathering her things with mechanical movements. As she passed their table, she stopped and looked at Randy. "You will regret this. She will leave you again. She will take everything and disappear, and you will have no one." Randy met her eyes steadily. "Goodbye, Mother." Diane left the courtroom, her lawyer trailing behind her, trying to offer comfort she clearly did not want. Randy knew he would never see her again. The knowledge brought relief, not regret. Outside the courthouse, Angela was waiting with Gloria's friend who had been babysitting. When she saw them emerge, she ran. "Did we win? Tell me we won!" Gloria knelt and hugged her fiercely. "We won, baby. She cannot come near us. Ever." Angela threw her arms around both her parents, and they stood on the courthouse steps, the three of them holding each other, crying, laughing, whole. "Thank you, Dad," Angela whispered, "for protecting us." Dad, not Randy, not biological father. Dad. Randy's voice was wrecked when he answered. "Always. I will always protect you both." They went for lunch at Angela's favorite restaurant to celebrate. Over burgers and milkshakes, Angela talked about everything except the hearing, school, soccer, the upcoming musical. Normal things, safe things. But when she went to the bathroom, Gloria reached across the table and took Randy's hand. "Thank you," she said, "for standing up to her, for choosing us. There was never another choice. For some people there would have been. Blood loyalty, family obligation, all of that." Randy squeezed her hand. "You and Angela are my family, the only family that matters." Gloria's eyes filled with fresh tears. "I am starting to believe that. Finally. After all this time, I think I actually believe you." "Good. Because I will spend every day for the rest of my life proving it is true." Angela returned, oblivious to the emotional conversation she had interrupted. She stole one of Randy's French fries. He had given her permission weeks ago, and now it was their routine, and launched into a detailed explanation of the science project she was planning for next semester. Randy listened, holding Gloria's hand under the table, and thought, This is what happiness feels like." Later that night, after they had dropped Angela at home and Gloria had walked Randy to his car, she said something that stopped him cold. "Coffee? Tomorrow? Just the two of us? We should talk." Randy's heart hammered. About? About us. About what this is. About where we go from here. "I would like that very much." Gloria smiled, tentative but real. "Good. I will text you a time and place." She walked back into her building, and Randy drove home in a daze, replaying that smile over and over in his mind. They had won the battle. Maybe they were finally ready to fight for each other again. Chapter 8. The family they chose. Coffee turned into dinner, turned into late-night conversations that stretched until the Miami sky began lightening with dawn. Over the next 3 months, Randy and Gloria slowly, carefully rebuilt what had been broken. They talked about everything: the years they had lost, the pain they had both endured, the people they had become in the decade apart. They went to couples therapy, working through resentments and fears with a professional who helped them communicate without old wounds poisoning every exchange. It was hard work. Some sessions left them both raw and hurting, but they kept showing up, kept trying, kept choosing each other and Angela over the easier path of walking away. Angela's 10th birthday approached in early May. She had specific requests: a party at the park where Randy had first met her, her school friends, her soccer teammates, her mum's doctor friends, and her dad. The word still made Randy's chest tighten with emotion every time she said it. Randy arrived 2 hours early to help Gloria set up, stringing lights between palm trees, arranging tables, inflating balloons in red and white, Angela's favorite colors. They worked side by side, falling into an easy rhythm that felt both new and familiar. "She has been planning this for weeks," Gloria said, securing a balloon arch. "Drew up schedules and diagrams. Very type A." "Cannot imagine where she gets that from," Randy teased. Gloria threw a rolled-up streamer at him. "Says the man who color-codes his calendar and arrives 45 minutes early to everything. 45 minutes early is on time. That is literally insane." They were laughing when Angela appeared with 3 of her friends, all of them in matching soccer jerseys. "Are you guys flirting? Because it is kind of gross but also kind of cute." Gloria's cheeks flushed. "We are not flirting." "You totally are. Sarah's parents flirt exactly like that." Randy grinned. "Your mom is beautiful when she blushes." Gloria's flush deepened. Angela and her friends dissolved into giggles. The party was perfect. 20 kids running around the park, playing soccer and tag and whatever other games they invented on the spot. Gloria's colleagues from the hospital brought food. Angela opened presents with appropriate enthusiasm for each one. Then Randy presented his gift. It was a photo album, handmade, the cover embossed with Angela's life, past, present, future, in gold lettering. Angela opened it slowly. The first section held pictures Randy had gathered. Gloria from college, looking young and happy and full of dreams. Pictures of Randy as a kid, so Angela could see the resemblance. A few photos of them together from before everything fell apart, Gloria laughing in Randy's arms, both of them oblivious to what was coming. Then came pictures of Angela as a baby that Gloria had given him permission to copy, toddler Angela with gap teeth and wild curls, school photos marking each year, soccer trophies, science fair ribbons, then blank pages labeled by year. Age 10, age 11, age 12. The last page simply said, "The future to be written together." Angela looked up at Randy with tears streaming down her face. "You made this? I wanted you to see where you came from, and to know that we have all the time in the world to fill in the rest together." Angela launched herself at him, nearly knocking him over with the force of her hug. "Thank you, Dad. This is the best present ever." Gloria was crying too, not even trying to hide it. "Okay, who wants cake before I completely fall apart?" After the party wound down and Angela's friends had been collected by their parents, the 3 of them sat on the grass watching the sunset paint the sky in impossible colors. "Best birthday ever," Angela declared, leaning against Gloria's shoulder. "Yeah?" Gloria kissed the top of her head. "Yeah, because you are both here, together, like a real family." Randy and Gloria exchanged a look over Angela's head. "We are a real family," Gloria said gently. "We have always been a family. We just found our way back to each other." "I know, but it is different now. Better." Angela sat up, looking between them with serious eyes. "You are going to get married, right? Because if you do not, that would be really dumb." Gloria choked on air. Randy laughed despite the sudden spike in his heart rate. "Angela," Gloria managed. "What? Everyone can see you love each other. It is super obvious." "Out of the mouths of babes," Randy murmured. Gloria shot him a look that was half exasperation, half something that might have been hope. Angela yawned dramatically. "I am going to go play on the swings and give you privacy to have a gross adult conversation." She ran off before either of them could respond. Randy and Gloria sat in silence for a moment. Then Gloria said, "She is not wrong." Randy's heart stopped. About? About it being obvious. Gloria looked at him. "I do love you. Still. Again. I am not sure it ever really stopped." Randy could barely breathe. "Gloria, let me finish. I spent 10 years angry at you, hurt by you, building walls so high I thought nothing could get through, and then you showed up at that hospital, and all those feelings came rushing back. The anger, yes, but also the love, the connection, the sense that you were the other half of something I had been missing. I feel the same way. I know, I can see it. Angela can see it. Hell, probably half of Miami can see it at this point. Gloria smiled. But I am scared. What if we try this and it does not work? What if we hurt Angela? Randy took her hands. Then we will figure it out together. But Gloria, we owe it to ourselves to try. We have spent 10 years apart. I do not want to waste another day. What are you saying? Randy had not planned this, had not prepared. But sitting in the park where he first met his daughter, watching the sun set on Angela's 10th birthday, it felt right. I am saying I want to do this right, court you properly, date you like we should have before, build this deliberately and carefully, and eventually, if you will have me, I want to marry you. Gloria's breath caught. Eventually. I am not proposing. Not yet. You said 6 months minimum and I'm respecting that. But I want you to know my intentions. I love you. I want to build a life with you, with Angela, with whatever family we create together. Gloria was crying again, smiling through the tears. You really have changed, have not you? Loving you and Angela changed me, made me better, made me the man I should have been 10 years ago. You are the man you need to be right now. That is what matters. Randy wiped her tears gently. Can I kiss you? I thought you would never ask. The kiss was 10 years of longing, of grief, of healing, all compressed into one perfect moment. Randy cupped Gloria's face like she was something precious, which she was, and kissed her like his life depended on it, which it did. When they pulled apart, both breathing hard, Angela was watching from the swings with the biggest grin Randy had ever seen. Finally, she shouted, it is about time. Gloria laughed, hiding her face in Randy's shoulder. Our daughter has no filter. Wonder where she gets that from. Definitely not from me. Definitely from you. They kissed again, and this time Angela ran over and tackled them both into a group hug that ended with all three of them lying in the grass, laughing at the darkening sky. Are we official now? Angela asked. Like boyfriend-girlfriend official? Are those even the right words for old people? I am 35, not ancient, Randy protested. That is pretty old. Gloria snorted. Thank you, daughter. Very reassuring. So are you. Together officially? Gloria looked at Randy. What do you think? Randy looked at the two most important people in his world. I think I would like that very much. Me too. Gross, Angela said cheerfully, but also good, very good. They lay in the grass until the stars came out, talking about nothing and everything, three people who had been broken and scattered and had somehow found their way back together. It was not the ending Randy had imagined 10 years ago. It was better. Chapter 9. The beginning of forever. 6 months later, Randy stood on Gloria's apartment balcony and tried to calm his racing heart. The ring box in his pocket felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. Inside, Gloria was cleaning up after dinner while Angela finished homework. They had fallen into this routine over the past months, Randy coming over 3 or 4 nights a week, cooking together, helping Angela with school, watching movies on the couch after she went to bed. They had taken it slow, exactly as Gloria had requested. Therapy every week. Honest conversations about fears and expectations. No rushing, no pressure, just steady building. But 6 months had passed, and Randy could not wait anymore. Gloria stepped onto the balcony with 2 glasses of wine. You have been weird all night. What is going on? Cannot a man just appreciate the view? The view you see from this balcony is a parking lot in the back of a strip mall. Randy laughed despite his nerves. Fair point. Gloria set down the wine and studied his face. Seriously, Randy, you are making me nervous. Good nervous or bad nervous? Unclear. Talk to me. Randy took a deep breath. I bought this ring 10 years ago. Gloria's hands flew to her mouth. Randy pulled out the box, opening it to reveal a simple platinum band with a single diamond. I was going to propose on your 23rd birthday, had the whole thing planned. Quiet dinner at that Italian place you loved, the one that played jazz on weekends. Nothing flashy, just us and a promise of forever. Randy, but then everything fell apart, and I thought I had lost you. I almost threw this ring away 100 times, but I could never do it, because some part of me always hoped I would find my way back to you. Gloria was crying now, silent tears streaming down her face. Randy got down on one knee. Gloria Marie Tilson, you are the love of my life, the mother of my child, the strongest, most incredible person I have ever known. I failed you once. I let you down when you needed me most, but you gave me a second chance I did not deserve. You let me know Angela. You let me back into your life. You taught me what it means to fight for something that matters. Randy, I am not done. His voice shook. I know I do not deserve you. I know I have to earn your trust every single day, but I am asking you to take a chance on me anyway. Marry me. Let me spend the rest of my life proving you made the right choice. Let me wake up next to you every morning and fall asleep beside you every night. Let me be Angela's dad officially, legally, permanently. Choose me. Choose us. Choose this future we are building together. Gloria was sobbing now. You are such an idiot. Randy's heart sank. Is that a no? It is a yes, you beautiful idiot. Yes, yes to all of it. Yes forever. Randy stood and slipped the ring on her finger with shaking hands. It fit perfectly. He had remembered her size from a decade ago, had hoped it had not changed. It is perfect, Gloria whispered, staring at the ring. You are perfect. I am really not. You are to me. They kissed, and Randy tasted salt from their combined tears. Behind them, the glass door slid open. Oh my God, are you serious? Angela's shriek could probably be heard in 3 neighboring counties. You are getting married? Randy and Gloria broke apart laughing. Angela stood in the doorway, vibrating with excitement. Only if you approve, Randy said. Angela ran at them full speed, nearly tackling both of them off the balcony. Are you kidding? I have been waiting for this since forever. It has only been 6 months, Gloria pointed out, laughing and crying simultaneously. That is forever in kid time. They stood on the balcony, the 3 of them wrapped around each other, and Randy thought his heart might actually burst from happiness. Can I be in the wedding? Angela asked, pulling back. You are the most important person in the wedding, Gloria said. Can I give a speech? Absolutely, Randy said. Can we have cake? Like a really big cake? The biggest cake you have ever seen. Angela squealed again, then pulled out her phone. I have to text everyone. Maybe wait until tomorrow, Gloria suggested. Mom, this is the most important news of my entire life. I am texting everyone right now. She ran inside, already typing furiously. Randy pulled Gloria close, resting his forehead against hers. We are really doing this. We really are. Are you scared? Terrified, but in a good way. Me too. They stood like that for a while, holding each other in the warm Miami night, listening to Angela's excited voice from inside as she called her friends. When should we do it? Gloria asked. The wedding. Whenever you want. Tomorrow. Next year. I do not care as long as you are mine. Gloria smiled against his shoulder. How about next spring? Give us time to plan something small. Just us and the people who matter. Perfect. And Randy? Yeah? I love you. I have loved you for 15 years. I will love you for the next 50 if you let me. 50 years is not long enough. No, but it is a start. They kissed again, and Randy felt the last broken piece of his heart click into place. He had lost Gloria once through cowardice and ignorance, had spent 10 years in a grey half-life without her, had found her again and fought for her and Angela with everything he had. And now they were building something new, not a recreation of what they had lost, but something better, tempered by pain, strengthened by choice, made real by the daily decision to show up for each other, Tomorrow, they would tell everyone, make plans, start building their official future together. But tonight, they had this, quiet and perfect and theirs. Inside, Angela's laughter rang out as she shared their news with the world, and Randy thought, this is what home feels like. Chapter 10. The Family They Became. 1 year later, Randy stood in his backyard under an arch woven with white roses and tried not to cry. The ceremony was small, exactly as Gloria had wanted. 50 people scattered across the lawn. Angela's school friends and their families, Gloria's colleagues from the hospital, Randy's business partner, and a few trusted employees. No distant relatives, no society connections. Just the people who had been there during the rebuilding, who had supported them, who genuinely cared. Angela walked down the aisle first, resplendent in a lavender dress she had picked herself, carrying a bouquet of wildflowers. She walked with purpose, head held high, and when she reached the front, she turned to watch her mother. Then Gloria appeared. She wore a simple white dress, her curls loose around her shoulders the way Randy loved them, carrying wildflowers that matched Angela's bouquet. No veil, no elaborate train. Just Gloria, walking toward him with tears in her eyes and a smile that could power cities. She was 44 years old, a brilliant emergency medicine physician, the mother of his child, and the most beautiful woman Randy had ever seen. Their eyes met, and she smiled wider. Randy stopped trying not to cry. Gloria walked toward him, no one giving her away because she had always belonged to herself, and took his hands when she reached the front. The officiant was brief. They had written their own vows. Gloria went first, her voice steady, despite the tears streaming down her face. Randy, you broke my heart once. I spent 10 years convinced I could never trust you again, that the wound was too deep to heal. But you showed me that people can change. That love is not about being perfect. It is about showing up, especially when it is hard. You fought for us when I gave you every reason to quit. You chose Angela and me over everything else in your life. You proved that second chances are real. I choose you. Today, tomorrow, every day for the rest of our lives. Randy's hand shook when it was his turn. Gloria, I lost you because I was too weak to fight for the truth. I spent 10 years in darkness, missing you, regretting every choice that led to losing you. You gave me a second chance I did not deserve. You let me know our daughter. You taught me what real strength looks like. You made me better than I ever could have been alone. I promise to choose you every day, to fight for us, to be worthy of your trust, to be the father Angela deserves and the partner you need. I love you. I have loved you for 16 years. I will love you until my last breath and beyond. The officiant pronounced them married. Randy kissed his wife, and heard Angela cheer louder than anyone else, her voice carrying across the yard and into the Miami afternoon. The reception flowed seamlessly. Good food, better company, laughter that felt earned after everything they had been through. Randy's business partner gave a toast about second chances and stubborn fools who refused to give up on love. Gloria's best friend from the hospital talked about watching Gloria transform from guarded and wounded to open and happy again. Then Angela stood to speak. She wore the lavender dress and her soccer cleats, had refused to change into the fancy shoes Gloria bought, and held a microphone with the confidence of someone who had been waiting for this moment. I used to wish on birthday candles for my dad to show up, she began, her voice clear and strong. Every year, I would blow them out and hope that maybe this time magic was real and he would walk through the door. He never came. And for a long time I was angry about that, sad about it. I felt like something was missing. Randy's chest tightened, but then he did show up, just 10 years late. Laughter rippled through the crowd, and at first, I did not want to give him a chance. I thought, why should I? Where were you for all those years? But Mom taught me that people deserve second chances if they are willing to work for them. And Dad worked. He showed up every single Saturday. He came to my soccer games. He helped with my homework. He moved across the country just to be near us. He fought his own mother in court to protect us. Angela's voice wavered but did not break. So yeah, he was late. But he is here now, and that matters. Mom and Dad, you guys are kind of weird and gross sometimes with all the kissing, but you also make each other happy. You make me happy. We are a family now, a real one. And I know it took a long time to get here, but I think we needed that time. To grow, to heal, to become who we needed to be. She raised her glass of sparkling cider. To Mom and Dad, to second chances, to families that find their way back together, and to never giving up on the people you love. The crowd erupted in applause. Randy was crying openly. Gloria was sobbing. Angela walked over and wrapped her arms around both of them. "I love you guys," she whispered. "Both of you. So much." "We love you too, baby," Gloria managed. Randy could not speak, so he just held them tighter. The party continued into the evening. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in impossible shades of orange and pink, Randy found Gloria standing alone near the garden, watching their guests. He wrapped his arms around her from behind. "Hey, wife." She leaned into him, laughing softly. "Hey, husband, that is going to take some getting used to. We have the rest of our lives." Gloria turned in his arms. "No regrets, only one, that we lost 10 years. But Gloria, I think Angela was right. We needed that time to become who we are now. I was not ready to be her father at 25, and you needed time to become the incredible woman you are, strong enough to take a risk on me again. When did you become so wise?" "I learned from the best." Randy kissed her forehead. "Thank you for this, for believing in us again. Thank you for not giving up, for fighting even when I made it so hard. You were worth the fight. You will always be worth the fight." They swayed to music, drifting from the reception, the party continuing without them for a moment. Angela was dancing with her friends, laughing at something completely herself. "She is going to be okay," Gloria said, watching their daughter. "Better than okay. She is going to be extraordinary. She already is. Because of you. Because of us. We made her together, and now we get to raise her together. Finally." Randy pulled Gloria closer. "I spent 10 years trying to fill the hole you left. Built a company, made millions, dated women who were fine but never right. Nothing worked. Because the hole was not about success or money or finding someone new. It was about you. It was always about you." Gloria's eyes filled with fresh tears. "I spent 10 years convincing myself I was better off alone, that I did not need anyone, that Angela and I were enough, and we were good together. We really were. But Randy, having you here, having you be part of this, it is better. We are better together. We really are." They kissed as the sun set behind them, painting everything in gold. When they pulled apart, Angela was watching with her friends, all of them making exaggerated gagging noises. Gloria laughed. "We are embarrassing our daughter." "Good. That is what parents do." Later, after the guests had left and Angela had fallen asleep on the couch mid-sentence from exhaustion, Randy and Gloria sat on their porch swing. The house was quiet except for crickets and the distant sound of traffic. "This is real, right?" Gloria asked softly. "We are really married, really building this life together. We are really doing this. Sometimes I am still scared, that I will wake up and you will be gone again." Randy took her hand. "I am not going anywhere. Ever. You are stuck with me now, legally bound. No escape." Gloria smiled, despite the tears. "Promise?" "I promise. Every day for the rest of our lives I choose you. I choose Angela. I choose this family we have built from broken pieces. We did build it, did not we? Took all the shattered parts and made something new. Something better than what we had before. Because now we know how fragile it is, how much it matters. We will not take it for granted. They sat in comfortable silence, holding hands, listening to the night sounds of their neighborhood. Inside, Angela shifted in her sleep, and Gloria smiled. I should carry her to bed. I will do it. Randy went inside and gently lifted his daughter, carrying her to her bedroom in their house. Not Gloria's apartment, not his townhouse, but their home that they had bought together 3 months ago. He tucked her in, kissed her forehead and whispered, I love you, sweetheart. Angela mumbled something unintelligible and rolled over, hugging her pillow. Randy stood in the doorway for a moment, watching her sleep, overwhelmed with gratitude for this second chance he had been given. When he returned to the porch, Gloria had moved to the steps, looking up at the stars. What are you thinking about? Randy asked, sitting beside her. About how I spent 10 years thinking my life was over, that the best parts were behind me, that I would just raise Angela and work, and that would be enough. And now? Now I think the best parts are just beginning. Randy wrapped his arm around her shoulders. I agree. They sat together under the stars, two people who had lost each other and found their way back, building a future from the ashes of their past. Inside, a photo sat on the mantel, the three of them at the wedding, Angela between her parents, all of them smiling like they held the world in their hands. Because they did. Randy had spent 10 years believing a lie, had lost everything that mattered, had built an empire on foundations of sand and regret, but Gloria gave him a second chance. Angela gave him a reason to be better. Together, they gave him everything, and all he could give them was the rest of his life, every moment, every day, forever.